Y News with William Theo, Angelo Castro III, and Darlene Basingan.
Good evening. Members of the Manila Police District and MMDA traffic enforcers are now deployed within the vicinity of Quirino Grandstand and along the routes of the procession tomorrow. Aiko Miguel is at Quirino Grandstand to tell us why live. Yes, Aiko.
Yes, William, good evening. Security measures are now in place at Quirino Grandstand and along the routes of Traslacion tomorrow. Barricades are now arranged at the grounds of the grandstand to facilitate the flow of vehicles and maintain designated lanes for vehicles and for the participants of the yearly event. There is an estimated 7,000 uniformed personnel from Manila Police District are now deployed, particularly along the routes of the procession. Ambulances are visible and on standby to respond for emergency cases. At 9 p.m. tonight, the Department of Health will begin its deployment for hospital personnel to all 29 medical stations in different areas in Manila. DOH hospitals are also on code white alert until Wednesday, January 10. At 10 in the evening tonight, the implementation of the gun ban will take effect and will extend until Wednesday. The liquor ban will also take effect tonight as well. The NDRRMC and City of Manila Incident Command units are also on standby. The public, William, is reminded of road closures in Manila since yesterday and is advised to monitor in case of rerouting by MMDA. William, the influx of people is expected tomorrow, so those with pre-existing conditions like heart disease, asthma, pregnant women, and children are also advised not to join to avoid injuries. Meanwhile, the UNTV news and rescue teams are stationed at the Quirino Bridge to augment and provide assistance when needed. That's the latest. Back to you, William.
Thank you very much, Aiko Miguel, live from the Quirino Grandstand. Meanwhile, the Department of Finance assures President Rodrigo Duterte will once again certify other tax reform packages as urgent. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
This year, the Duterte administration targets to pass other tax reform packages, which include second tax reform package or the corporate income tax and fiscal incentives.
Package 3 is also targeted to be passed within the year. Finance Secretary Sani Dominguez says if Congress will pass the bill as law, this will fund the 25% of the 8 trillion peso target budget for the Build infrastructure program of the government.
We would like to raise more or less something in the area of 2 trillion pesos for this, around 25% of the total.
The official is confident that President Rodrigo Duterte will certify the bill as urgent measures.
We have to recertify it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, he will.
So he's committed to doing that?
I believe so.
Dominguez adds that the effect of these tax reform packages on inflation will only be less than 1%. The official also insists that the tax due to taxpayers will not be very high.
Because the other tax packages are not so much increasing taxes. It is just making it fair.
If the Congress fails to approve the said bills, the target 3% of GDP deficit will not be maintained and the government must resort to cut its spending. Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
In other news, the price of some car units still remain as is amid the implementation of tax reform law. Here's why from Mai Bermudez.
There is no price increase in automotives just yet, according to several car dealers amid the implementation of tax reform law. Several reasons include they are currently exhausting the old stock which is not subjected to excise tax, and they are currently waiting for the implementing rules and regulations or IRR of the law.
We have no choice, but I think the automotive industry will have to pass the increases in terms of excise taxes onto the consumer. Although I would think that since the pickups now have been removed from the payment of excise taxes, since they are now classified as trucks, which is non-excisable.
Hyundai Philippines says they are already expecting the reduction in their sales. The customers of this car dealer beat the train before the year ends up until now, while their old stocks are still not exhausted. In case the prices of their units increase, they said they'll just provide their customers better service, discount, and accessories.
Nakikita mo na parang willing naman silang bumili. It's just that parang hindi nga lang nila minsan masyadong pinakinggan yung mga konting reminders namin sa kanila ng mga third or fourth quarter ng 2017 na talagang it's going to happen. Talagang the earliest nga January of 2018.
Based on calculations of Finance PH, automobile excise tax rates under train law from the cheapest cars to vehicles valued at 1.2 million pesos will be equivalent to 12,000 to 88,000 pesos. Even if tax rates increase to 28,000 pesos for units valued at 1.5 million pesos, this is comparatively lower than those priced at 1 to 1.2 million pesos.
What's notable here is if the car is around 2.1 million, the old tax is 512,000. In the new tax is only 420,000. So medyo mas lower yung tax if the car is around 2.1 million pataas.
Financial analyst Mark Fernandez also gave pieces of advice for those who are aiming to have a car amid the pending vehicle price increase.
If ever you want to buy a car, I suggest second-hand, of course. Kung pwedeng you get a cheaper car para lesser ang fuel na gagastusin mo, mas okay. And then if you are, like, if you frequently go to the office naman and parang you can get naman a taxi or you can get an Uber or a Grab on mga regular trips naman, pwedeng ganun din.
Mai Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Makati City.
Consumers in the provinces will feel the effects of excise tax on coal into their electricity rates by March, according to the National Electrification Administration. Here's why from Monokson.
Households outside Metro Manila need not worry of the effects of the excise tax on coal in their electric bills. According to the National Electrification Administration, the new tax reform will have a minimal impact on electric cooperatives that use coal as fuel source. In Metro Manila, an average household consumes 200 kilowatts monthly, which is lower than the 136 kilowatts being consumed by a household in the province.
Ang epekto nun ng excise tax, mga 70 centavos lang per bill. So, ibig sabihin, mas mahal pa yung text or yung candy. So, minimal lang. Very minimal lang talaga ang epekto.
However, in Bukidnon, the situation is different since 80% of their fuel comes from coal. According to the general manager of First Bukidnon Electric Cooperative, they will impose higher increase on power rate once the excise tax on coal takes effect.
Para naman ma-unburden yung consumer natin, siguro i-improve natin yung system, yung pagtatakbo ng operation ng distribution utility para naman ma-reduce yung effect ng systems loss na pinapas on din natin sa ating member consumer.
NEA said the power rate hike on electricity will take effect in March since the power supply company has remaining coal reserves. Overall, there are more than 100 electric cooperatives in the country, over 70 of which uses coal fuel, and around 50 use 50% coal. The agency calls on all electric cooperatives to shift into renewable energy, which is way cheaper. The National Electrification Administration will look into those electric cooperatives that will increase their power rates. The agency formed a regulatory body that will check anomalous contracts that cooperatives may enter into. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Some groups still question the source of the government's funding for the sectors that will be negatively affected by the implementation of the first tranche of the tax reform package of the administration. Nel Maribuhok will tell us why.
A labor group has once again expressed concern over the implementation of the first package of the administration's tax reform for acceleration and inclusion or TRAIN law. The Trade Union Congress of the Philippines, or TUCP, is questioning among other matters, where the government will get the funds it will use to help the sectors that will experience the direct impact of the new system of taxation.
We don't know what government agency who will do the doling out. Where is the money coming from? It's coming from the 2018 budget. Wala ho kami nakita doon na doon kukunin eh.
TUCP says about 16 million informal sector workers will be directly affected by the implementation of the tax reform package. In a study conducted by the Ibon Foundation, the poorest families, which are part of the 60% of the Philippine population, are among those that will be negatively affected by the train law.
Poorest households will be losing 650 pesos to 1,900 pesos for the whole of 2018. Nakatakot yan kasi nababawasan sila, whereas a CEO who's earning 706,000 pesos a month will have 89,000 pesos more in his or her pocket.
Meanwhile, the Department of Energy or DOE assures that the train law has safeguard provisions that ensure the affected sectors will not experience too much difficulty.
There's a provision po dun sa train that suspends the operation of the second and the third tranche kapag meron po significant increase dun sa indexes.
Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The families of the children who received Dengvaxia seek legal assistance from the Public Attorney's Office. Joan Nano will tell us why.
Talagang paglalabang, ito na lang ang araw na bibigay ko sa kanya at magagawa ko ang alamin ng katotohanan. Ang lusog ng anak ko eh.
Jeffrey Alimagno is among the parents whose children received Dengvaxia who asked help from the Public Attorney's Office. His child, Ray Justine 13, died of dengue shock syndrome last January 3, but he was said to be of good health prior to that. Other families also suffered from sudden death of their children who were vaccinated with Dengvaxia. Even though dengue is not the cause of death on record, PAO's forensic expert sees common patterns among the 3 children who underwent their examination. Dr. Erwin Erpes says the 3 had rapidly developed a disease within the next 6 months following their Dengvaxia shot. They have also developed organ enlargements and extensive bleeding of the brain, heart, and lungs.
Sa profiling na ginagawa namin, nag-a-occur siya within a period of 6 months after vaccination. So naililink namin siya sa Dengvaxia. Because of the allegation na rin ng mga parents na apparently they were healthy, mga bata, before the vaccination or bago sila magkasakit.
Nevertheless, the forensic investigation on whether these are really Dengvaxia-related deaths continues. Meanwhile, PAO Chief Persida Acosta says around 300 parents already sought legal assistance from their office. She adds they are still finalizing the names of the respondents of the cases to be filed.
May order si Secretary Aguirre na kami ang hahawak ng civil, administrative at criminal cases ng mga namatay na. At maging yung mga buhay pa yung magulang, handa silang magkaso ayon sa kanila.
Joan Nano, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Around 250 public utility vehicles were flagged down as the Department of Transportation begins its campaign against smoke belchers and old vehicles. Joan Nano is back to tell us why.
The operatives of the Interagency Council for Traffic or IAC inspected several jeepneys earlier today in some portions of EDSA, Commonwealth Avenue, Marcos Highway and Quezon Boulevard. The traffic law enforcers stopped the jeepneys and have them undergo smoke emission tests. They also examined the physical appearance of the vehicles. Department of Transportation Undersecretary for Road Transport Tomas Orbo says this move is in line with the government's implementation of the Public Utility Vehicle Modernization Program. He explains that as of now, they are just flagging down and issuing warnings against old jeepneys or those who will fail with their inspection. Drivers of the flagged down jeepneys were instructed by IAC to undergo the Motor Vehicle Inspection System or MVIS in the Land Transportation Office or LTO.
Ngayon ang ginagawa lang is to give them a subpoena para mag-appear sila bukas o sa makalawa. 24 hours. Dali nila yung sasakyan nila. Ayaw din namin kasi mantala yung mga pasahero.
In case the vehicle fails the MVIS, the OTR explains that they will not be allowed on the road until they are fixed. Once fixed, the government will still allow these units to operate within the 3-year transition period under the PUV Modernization Program. As of 2 this afternoon, the IAC has flagged down more than 250 PUVs that failed the smoke belching test and with defective spare parts and accessories. Meanwhile, despite those who welcome the efforts of the government on PUV modernization, there are still some passengers who were dismayed by the inconvenience it caused to them.
Okay lang naman po para yung mga koloro at yung mga luma mapalitan na rin kasi para sa safety rin ng mga commuters.
Okay lang kaso nakakaabala kasi tulad ngayon papunta pa ako ng PCS o nagmamadali ako. Dapat hindi gantong rush hour. Iayos naman nila. Toxic sila eh.
Nakakakos lang kasi ng traffic, nakakatagal lang lalo, nakakaabala sa amin.
USEC Arba says the implementation of flagging down of old jeepneys will run until Friday, while the actual apprehension and confiscation of public utility vehicles that will fail the roadworthiness test will begin next week. John Ano, UNTV News and Rescue, Makati City.
Traveling from Quezon City to Taguig City and back is expected to ease soon. Rajela Dora tells us why.
Another major expressway will be built by the government this year to ease the travel going to southern part of Metro Manila. This morning, Transportation Secretary Arthur Tugade and Public Works Secretary Mark Villar lead a groundbreaking ceremony for the Southeast Metro Manila Expressway or the C6 Expressway. The construction of the road will begin on April and expected to be finished in just 2.5 years. According to Secretary Villar, aside from easing up the traffic, the project will also help the economy.
Base po sa study ng JICA, ang nawawala po sa atin 2.4 billion pesos a day sa productivity. Isipin nyo na lang po yung oras natin sa traffic. And overall, ang kagandahan ng project na ito, madi-decongest ang C5 at yung EDSA.
Travel time from Quezon City to Taguig will soon take up to 35 minutes with the construction of C6 Expressway. That is about 2.5 hours faster than the current 3 hours ride. According to Secretary Tugade, this plan is long overdue and it will come true.
Ngayon ho, binibigyan buhay natin yan. Binibigyan buhay natin upang sa ganon matugunan yung issue na connectivity, matugunan yung issue na mobility.
The 34-kilometer C6 Expressway is under the Build program of the Duterte administration with a 45 billion peso budget. The expressway is expected to be ready for use by 2020. Rajela Dora, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Next on Y News. President Rodrigo Duterte remains the most trusted government official based on the latest Pulse Asia survey.
Opposition groups file a petition to the Supreme Court that questions the legality of the martial law extension in Mindanao.
And a government official urges a shift to hybrid elections in the 2019 midterm elections.
Y News will be right back.
President Rodrigo Duterte remains as the most trusted government official based on the latest survey of Pulse Asia. Here's why from Victor Cosare.
8 out of 10 Filipinos approve the performance of and continue to trust President Rodrigo Duterte. In the 2017 last quarter survey of Pulse Asia, 80% of Filipinos approve the performance of the president, 7% disapprove, while 13% are undecided. The chief executive's trust rating, meanwhile, is at 82%. The highest recorded performance and trust rating of the president came from Mindanao, followed by Visayas and the National Capital Region or NCR. The president got the lowest ratings in other parts of Luzon. Filipinos who are among the Class E gave the highest ratings to the president.
These numbers show that our people are aware of and recognize the significant strides the president undertook in his 1 year and a half in office. We assure our people that he will continue to discharge his duties with the nation's interests foremost in his mind. We thus call on everyone to put this appreciation into action by standing as one and helping the government as we continue to address the problem of poverty, illegal drugs, criminality, and corruption.
In the same survey, Vice President Leni Robredo got an approval rating of 59% and a trust rating of 58%. It rose several points higher compared to the results of Pulse Asia's survey in the third quarter of 2017. Senate President Coco Pimentel, meanwhile, got a trust and approval rating of more than 50%. House Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez got a 42% approval rating and a 37% trust rating. Of the 5 highest officials of the land, Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno got the lowest ratings. The said survey was conducted among 1,200 respondents last December 10 to 15 and 17. The issues making headlines during the conduct of the Pulse Asia survey were the ratification of Congress of the train law, the passage of the 3.7 trillion pesos 2018 national budget, the hearing for the CJ Sereno impeachment case, the order to stop the country's immunization program after Sanofi Pasteur admits its Dengvaxia vaccine might cause severe dengue to individuals with prior infection, the PNP's return to the drug war, the president's labeling of the CPP-NPA as a terrorist group, the chief executive's supporters' call for a revolutionary government, among others. Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Oppositions file a petition before the Supreme Court that questions the legality of the martial law extension in Mindanao. Here's why from Nel Maribuho.
Makabayan Bloc lawmakers in Congress and human rights advocates went to the Supreme Court today to question the administration's move to extend to another year the military rule in Mindanao. The petitioners argue the martial law extension of the current administration has no strong basis.
I-void ang martial law extension dahil wala itong factual basis as required by the Constitution. Ang requirement ng Constitution, dapat may actual na rebellion.
In a petition, the Makabayan Bloc and human rights advocates filed today, they asked the High Tribunal to issue a temporary restraining order or writ of preliminary injunction and to order a conduct of an open discussion if the military rule extension and the suspension of the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus have sufficient basis. They also asked the Supreme Court to declare the martial law proclamation as null and void.
Talagang ultimate motive ng deklarasyong ito ay yung patahimikin ang lahat ng mga mamayan, lalo pa sa Mindanao, na tumututol at lumalaban sa pandarambong ng mga dayuhang korporasyon.
Sabi nila ito raw ay martial law na may puso, no? Iyan ay hindi totoo, no? Kung kaming nanggaling sa Mindanao, alam namin kahit sa Marawi City at labas sa Lanao del Sur, sa Surigao del Sur, grabe ang nangyaring paglabag sa karapatang pantao.
Meanwhile, Solicitor General Jose Calida submitted today a comment before the Supreme Court regarding the first petition filed by Albay Representative Edsel Lagman and others. The Solicitor General argues the petitioners have committed a huge mistake, noting they failed to incorporate in their petition the joint resolution of Congress about the martial law extension. It can be recalled the petitioners claimed the Congress committed grave abuse of authority when it approved the extension of the military rule in the southern part of the country. Calida further noted the extension of martial law is necessary as threats of terrorism remains in the region. He added until the Congress believes rebellion still exists and martial law is required for the safety of the public, the extension of the military rule will remain necessary. Nel Maribuho, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
A former senatorial candidate is now pushing for a change in the system of elections in 2019. Here's why from Ray Pelayo.
Presidential Advisor on Political Affairs Francis Tolentino wants the system of elections a mix of manual and automated or the hybrid election system. With hybrid system, voting and counting will be done manually in polling precincts. Then, the transmission of election results will be done electronically. Tolentino believes the hybrid system will keep transparency safeguarded because voters can see if their votes are truthfully counted.
Ang sinusulong ko po, pagdating sa presinto, manual tayo. Isulat mo ang pangalan ng gusto mong mayor, vice mayor, mga konsehal. Subalit pagdating po sa canvassing, yung transmission automated.
The hybrid elections was advocated by former COMELEC Commissioner Gas Lagman. But Lagman says There are countries who are now returning to manual system of voting.
Like Germany, dati full automation. Binalik sa manual. Ireland, ganun din. Netherlands, ganun din. Kasi sinasabi, dapat nakikita ng mga tao ko paano bibilang ang balota nila.
But Commission on Elections spokesperson James Jimenez says they have given Lagman a chance to prove the efficacy of the hybrid election system through a mock election, but the idea did not perform as promised.
Kapag mabagal, mas lalong hindi nagiging sure ang taong bayan na malinis ang proseso. Okay? Why? Because rather than ending the whole counting process right away, you're giving more time for malicious elements to creep in and do their magic.
But Jimenez said anyone who wants to push for the hybrid system can still present the idea and convince the COMELEC Advisory Council. Ray Pilayo, UNTV, News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Some lawmakers are in favor of term extension while the shift to a federal form of government is underway. Here's why from Grace Kasi.
Lawmakers want 1 to 3 term extension for their terms while federalism are on the way. One of the principal authors of the proposed constitutional amendments, ABS Party List Representative Michael De Vera, said there is a need to have a transitory government for the smooth shift to federalism. That's why De Vera joins others who favor an additional 1 to 3 year extension to facilitate the shift of government. He adds that since they are the ones who begin the initial phase to federalism, they should stay to help in its implementation.
Ngayon, medyo pag pinasa natin, medyo bitin sa oras, siguro kailangan din na nandiyan kami natutulong sa implementation yung initially ng federal system of government.
De Vera believes that though the no election scenario is not in their original proposal, it can still be done since it was House Speaker Pantalon Alvarez who expressed favor for it.
Anything is open for any proposal, sabi nga niya. So including nga yung the possibility, hindi naman niya sinabing sigurado na the possibility lang of having no elections of May of 2019.
Besides, Mindoro Representative Reynaldo Umali says if the 2019 elections would push through, they will have no enough time for the preparations.
I-postpone yung elections on 2019 so that we can finish the task. Kasi kung hindi, mangangampanya na kami. And pag nangampanya kami, baka we might not be able to master a quorum in the crafting of a very important constitution and yung federal form of government.
But House Committee on Constitutional Amendments Chairman Roger Mercado is not in favor of term extension and no L. Mercado says they should follow the current constitution until the new one is approved. He adds that it is not good for a lawmaker to propose for a term extension as it will appear as self-service.
Para sa akin kasi, in a term extension or no election, it is self-serving. Parang will not look good for us to do it. Parang there is some question of morals here and question of sincerity and honesty on the part of the members of the House.
Now that Congress is drafting a new form of constitution, proposals for a 4-year term for congressmen and local officials are being pushed. There is also proposals to give the president 4 years in every term and an entitlement for re-election. Grace Casted, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
Senate President Aquilino Coco Pimentel defended the upper chamber of Congress anew against criticism that it acts too slow in terms of approving the administration's priority bills. Nel Maribuhok will tell us why.
Senate Minority Leader Franklin Drilon expresses his concern over the negative remarks of the leadership of the lower house against the Senate. Drilon says the lower house should not attack the upper chamber of Congress as this will violate the interchamber courtesy. He adds that the criticisms may be part of the move that pushes for charter change.
Sa aking tingin, beyond the criticism, unfounded as it is, of the pace that the Senate would act on these measures, I think this is part of the effort para pababain ang tingin ng tao sa Senado para pagdating noong charter change, kung ibig nilang burahin ang Senado sa pamahalaan, madali na.
Senate President Quirino Pimentel, however, says he doesn't see any issue on the matter.
Okay, I feel I have defended the Senate already. Kung kulang pa din, all members are free to defend the Senate.
The Senate President adds that anyone, including the leadership of the lower house, should enjoy his freedom of expression. Pimentel adds that the Senate continues to do its mandate, and to prove his point, he says the Senate will tackle the proposed death penalty in the plenary when the session resumes on January 15. He also says a resolution which will call on the Congress to convene as a constituent assembly will also be filed on the resumption of the session.
It's a resolution calling for the Senate to sit together with the House of Representatives as a constituent assembly for the purpose of revising the 1987 Constitution, specifically to study the adoption of a federal system of government.
The leadership of the Senate believes the push for the charter change will succeed, so as the proposal to change the form of government from presidential to federalism. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
Meanwhile, Police Chief Director General Ronald De La Rosa confirms that a total of 69 police officers will be sacked from active duty this month. Here's why from Leah Ilagan.
The 69 police officers will soon be relieved from the service due to various offenses. This was confirmed by Police Chief Director General Ronald Bato De La Rosa. De La Rosa says the National Police Commission, or NAPOLCOM, is set to submit their recommendation, including the names and the decision on the cases of the involved police to Malacanang. The 69 policemen are with ranks of Police Officer 1 to Police Senior Superintendent.
Merong drugs, merong awol, merong misconduct, neglect of duty.
General De La Rosa assures that the cases of the police officer in question went through proper police procedure. The police chief adds that internal cleansing within their ranks will continue until the end of his term in April.
You expect me to be consistent with what I've been saying. I will walk the talk. Pag sinabi ko, gagawin ko talaga. And yung pa rin, aking number one na priority ng internal cleansing. Linisin namin yung PNP. So yung ating CITF ay walang hinto yung kanilang monitoring sa mga tiwaling pulis ongoing.
He also confirms that DILG-OIC Eduardo Año vows to help him bring back the good image of the Philippine National Police.
Initially, noon, meron na kami napag-usapan na tutulungan niya ako na gaganda yung imahe ng PNP.
Leah Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue, Krame.
The management of the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, or PDEA, vows to fire employees who will test positive of illegal drugs. Here's why from Grace Casit.
Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, or PDEA Director General Aaron Aquino led today's surprise mandatory drug testing in the agency. 600 employees underwent drug tests. They include utility, security guard, office staff, agent, and officials themselves. According to PDEA Director General Aaron Aquino, the mandatory drug testing aims to bring back the public's trust to the lead agency fighting illegal drugs by ensuring that all its personnel are drug-free. Aquino also emphasizes that PDEA undercover agent could not use as an alibi the nature of their work for using illegal drugs.
Noon kasi, in order to penetrate a group or syndicated group of that is involved in illegal drugs, dapat gumamit ka rin, dapat magbenta ka rin. Di ba? So, hindi tama yon. Mali yung sistema na yon. So, binabago na natin yon.
Meanwhile, some PDEA undercover agents have this to say.
Dapat nga, kung pwede, every month or every quarter or kung mas madalas, mas maganda. Kasi, syempre, kami lead agency.
Siyempre po, yung credibility ng pagiging drug-free, dapat kami manguno doon.
All employees who tested positive of illegal drugs will face investigation and dismissal from service.
Pag ikaw nag-positive, automatic, dismiss ka talaga. Kaso aabutin mo.
PDEA first conducted its surprise drug testing in November of last year. No one of its employees tested positive of illegal drugs. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Malacanang will exhaust all legal options to revise the ruling of the Court of Appeals which freed former Palawan Governor Joel Reyes. Victor Cosare will tell us why.
The government will file a motion for reconsideration following the Court of Appeals decision and approval to free Governor Joel Reyes, the primary suspect in the murder case of journalist and environmentalist Doc Jerry Ortega. Presidential spokesperson Secretary Harry Roque says he is set to meet with Solicitor General Jose Calida and Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre to discuss the legal actions that must be done in line with the reversal of the CA decision.
The President remains the chief implementer of the laws. The case was filed by the executive. We will exercise all legal options to reverse this decision of the Court of Appeals.
The official adds that the recent decision of the CA is alarming for the state of the freedom of the press in the country since Ortega is a journalist and an activist. Roque claims that Ortega's murder is an example of an extrajudicial killing.
So I find it alarming that this CA decision, number one, overruled an earlier Supreme Court decision, and number two, arrogated its own judgment for that of the Regional Trial Court that had the opportunity to physically accept the evidence, observe the demeanor of the witnesses, and concluded that there was in fact probable cause.
Ortega was gunned down by an alleged hired gunman in January 2011. The gunman eventually identified Reyes as the mastermind of the crime. Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
A shelter in Chicago calls for more donation from the society to help the homeless to get through the harsh winter in the United States.
Foreign workers in Taiwan call for better labor rights, particularly the abolition of the country's broker system.
And more than 100,000 locals and tourists enjoy ice fishing in South Korea's annual Sancheonho Festival.
More from Y News after this break.
The NHA Builders showed a thrilling overtime game against the Senate Defenders. Meanwhile, the Judiciary Magis put a stop on the GSIS Furies' run of good luck in yesterday's UNTV Cup Season 6 games. Bernard Dadis will tell us why.
UNTV Cup two-time champion Judiciary Magis squelched the GSIS Furies winning streak during yesterday's doubleheader at the Olivares Gymnasium in Parañaque City. Joey Abot says defense was a key to the Magis' 1981 victory.
Yung depensa namin sa zona, at least gumanda yung depensa nagka-problema kami, yung big man namin, foul trouble kagad. Kaya yung mga number 2 namin, naging naging sa ilalim ng laro Buti naman, gumanda yung depensa.
The Furies' performance on the other hand was below par.
Parang parang extended vacation pa rin yung game nila kanina. Lagi kaming may lapses sa depensa, parang ang bagal ng reaction namin. Every time na nagsiswing yung bola sa wing, meron kaming rules Kaso ang bagal ng recovery. Kaya laging nakakashoot sila sa labas.
Don the Hammer Camaso was hailed as the best player of the game with 19 points.
What a shot.
And in the second game, the UNTV Cup fans witnessed a thrilling overtime game as the NHA Builders demolished the Senate Defenders. The Sanders Legazpi-led Defenders dominated the first to third quarters of the ball game. However, the Builders stepped up in the last few minutes of the fourth quarter with Alvin Vitug, Marvin Mercado, and Antonio Lustestica showing what they've got.
Actually, hindi bumigay yung mga players ko. Yung puso nila nandun na kahit anong mangyari, kailangan nila maglaro at kailangan nila lumaban.
NHA's Alvin Vitug was hailed as the best player of the game with 35 points. Only 3 weeks are left in the second round elimination for the 8 remaining teams to battle for the top 6 spots. The top 2 teams will automatically ease to the semi-final round, while the quarterfinals will see the 6 to 8 places. The bottom 2 will exit the league this season. Bernard Dadis, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
An executive of the first ever cryptocurrency cafe in Singapore says there is nothing to fear in trading with digital money. Here's why from Myla Guevara.
Ronnie Tomei, the Chief Executive Officer of the newly opened cryptocurrency cafe in Singapore, Ducatus Cafe, says they are taking advantage of the public's acceptance of the cryptocurrency trading, and with this, they seek to make them understand and how the trading works in real life.
They think it's very complicated, they think it's difficult to use, it's risky. And they didn't see the usage in real life.
In Ducatus Cafe, customers can buy food, coffee, and even eco-friendly beauty products. However, the cafe is not accepting cash.
This is Ducatus Cafe's own Bitcoin machine. To facilitate the use of Bitcoins, customers can buy or top up some cryptocurrency while waiting for their coffee.
For its operation, the cryptocurrency cafe created its own digital money for faster transaction in their coffee shop.
It's more like a barter. I'm giving you my crypto, you are giving me my product, whatever it is, my coffee or my bread or anything, and that's where the value comes from. Now, if people are going back to that original idea, then I don't see any downside.
Ronnie says the public has nothing to worry about with the use of digital money, as it is being directly paid for products and services the company is offering. The problem, Ronnie says, is that others view digital money differently. He cited as an example the investment in the stock market.
The downside at the moment is that a lot of people are looking at cryptocurrencies as a speculation only. They're all trying to buy cheap and sell high, but that is not what a cryptocurrency is meant for.
The CEO laments governments also act slowly in terms of making the public aware of and understand the benefits of the technology.
Why not invest yun naman sa Bitcoin, di ba? At hindi rin naman nakakatakot so far ngayon dahil sumisikat pa lang yung cryptocurrency.
The Ducatus Cafe, meanwhile, is confident that the virtual money industry would help the economy of countries grow faster. For now, Ronnie notes the public has to understand and government should give cryptocurrency the chance to further grow.
Cryptocurrency and the underlying technology of blockchain will change the world. So the sooner governments are accepting the fact that this is something that can help them run the country on a more efficient way. If people are going back to that original idea, then I don't see any downside, I only see upsides. It just requires all of us and all players, the governments as well, the businesses, to play together and find the best way of making use of this new amazing technology.
Myla Guevara, UNTV News and Rescue, Singapore.
Those are the reasons behind the news, January 8, 2018. I am William Theo.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I'm Angelo Castro III.
And I'm Darlene Basingan, because we need to know.
We will always ask why. Thank you for watching
Why
News.